Hola. Buenos dias. This is a good way to greet someone in the morning. In Spanish, we say buenos dias. Repite, buenos dias. Buenos días. Muy bien, very good. Sometimes you'll hear people say, buen día. Repite, buen día. Buen día. Buen día. And both mean good morning or good day, and it's a good way to greet someone in the morning. Now, do you remember how to say hello? If you said hola, repite hola. Muy bien, very good. We can actually put hola and buenos dias together, just like in English you would say hello, good morning. So let's try. Hola. Buenos días. Hola, buenos días. Hola, buenos días. Muy bien, very good. Ahora, do you remember? Ahora means now. Ahora. Do you remember how to ask, what's your name? If you said, ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? Repite, ¿Cómo te llamas? You would be right. ¿Cómo te llamas, remember, means what's your name? And do you remember that we can add hola? ¿Cómo te llamas? Hello, what's your name? Now we can add hello, good morning, what's your name? Hola, buenos días, ¿cómo te llamas? Repite, hola, buenos días, ¿cómo te llamas? Let's take it slower. Hola. Buenos días. ¿Cómo te llamas? Muy bien, very good. What if we wanted to say hello, good afternoon? Well, we would still say hola. We'd still use the word hola for hello. But the word for afternoon in Spanish, well, good afternoon, is buenas tardes. Let's try that. You'll repeat after me. Buenas tardes. Tardes. Muy bien. Remember, these two, well, let's look at these two words. This bottom one, in rojo, in red, there's an O near the S at the end. Buenos días. But for good afternoon, and buenos or buenas or buen all come from that word that means good, buen. So, buenas, we say buenas when we want to use the word tardes. Now, this word, tarde, in Spanish means late. And there's a word in English that sounds very similar to this word. And it's an old-fashioned word they used to use in school, and they still might use it. It's tardy, when you're late. And the word tardy and tardes come from a Latin word, tardis, which means late. Now, Spanish is one language that comes from an old language that people don't speak anymore, and it's called Latin. And there are lots of languages that came out of Latin: Spanish, French, Italian, Romanian, and Portuguese. These languages came out of an old language called Latin. So sometimes, even in our English language, many of our words come from that old language Latin. So sometimes when you're learning one of these languages, you might see a word or hear a word that you recognize in English. And that's because both of those words come from Latin. So when we see this word, buenas tardes, this here sounds like tardy. So I can figure out, well, I know in English, tardy means late. So good late, good afternoon. Now, tarde in Spanish, also we use that word for the word late. But when we want to say good afternoon, we also use that word. Buenas tardes. So I can say, hola, buenas tardes. Hello, good afternoon. Now, buenas tardes can really be used also for good evening. In many Spanish-speaking countries, they'll use this phrase, buenas tardes, all the way up until the evening time. What about when the sun goes down and it's nighttime? Well, then we would use buenas noches. Repite, buenas noches. Bien, good. Buenas noches. This is how we say good night. You can come in and say, hola, buenas noches, or adios, buenas noches, goodbye, good night. So people can use this coming in and out. Lots of times they'll use it for when they say goodbye. Adios, buenas noches. Or if you want to say goodbye, good night to mom and dad, or to somebody in your family. Buenas noches, mami. Buenas noches, papi. So buenas noches can be used for a farewell, a goodbye. Now, speaking of goodbyes, there's lots of ways to say goodbye in Spanish, and we learned one yesterday. Well, not yesterday, but our last lesson, and that was adios. Adios. Now, with this D here, notice I don't say adios. I kind of pronounce it like a th. Adios. It's a softer, almost like a TH. Adios. Okay? Sometimes you'll hear people say adios, but we don't pronounce it like that. Adios. And again, you'll notice that little accent over the O, so I really want to hear this part of the word, adios. Can you think of other ways to say goodbye in English? Because I'm sure there's lots of ways. So let's think. See you later. Can you think of any more? If you think see you later, see you tomorrow, see you soon, those are all ways to kind of say the word farewell or goodbye to someone. A couple of 100 years ago, actually, the word goodbye comes from a phrase that people would say, God be with thee. So when they would say goodbye to someone, they would say, God be with thee. And that kind of gotten shortened over the centuries to goodbye. But really, it's from the phrase, God be with thee. God be with thee. In Spanish, it's very similar because this word right here, Dios, in Spanish means God. So when I say adios, go with God. So same kind of idea in both the older English and Spanish, this idea of giving someone a blessing when you leave. So let's learn some of the phrases that we just said for farewells. The first one, if I wanted to say, see you later, I'm going to say, hasta luego. Repite, hasta luego. Let's try it again. Hasta luego. Hasta luego. Muy bien. You might see this letter here and think, I didn't hear the h like I do in English for the letter H. Well, in Spanish, this H, the H is silent, so we don't hear it. So when we say hasta luego, we don't hear that H. Hasta luego means see you later. What if I wanted to say, see you soon? Hasta pronto. Hasta pronto. Pronto means soon. Hasta really means until. So it's kind of like we're saying until soon or until later, but we translate it hasta luego, see you later. Hasta pronto, see you soon. And the last one, if you wanted to say, see you tomorrow, hasta mañana. Mañana means tomorrow. Hasta mañana. Repite, hasta mañana. Hasta mañana. Muy bien. Now, for first and second grade, you might remember the song that we sang in class last year, where we would say, hola, buenos días, and then you would repeat, hola, buenos días. Vamos a practicar esta canción. We're going to practice this song, but just the beginning part. So you're going to repeat after me. Hola, buenos días. Hola, buenas tardes. And sorry about my voice. I'm not a singer. Let's try that again. Hola, buenos días. Hola, buenas tardes. We're going to be adding to that song with the words and phrases that we learn. But those are two phrases and words that you'll keep hearing in the song. So, muy bien. Good job. What if I wanted to say, hello, good afternoon. My name is Amber. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Amber. ¿Cómo se dice? How would you say those phrases in Spanish? Let's think. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Amber. So, thinking about the first phrase, hello. How would I say the word hello? Muy bien. Hola. Hello, good afternoon. Hola, buenas tardes. Let's try that. Repite. Hola, buenas tardes. Muy bien. My name is Amber. Me llamo Amber. Repite. Me llamo Amber. Now, let's put it all together. I'm going to use my little holder here. So let's try it. Hola, buenas tardes. Me llamo Amber. Hola, Buenas tardes. Me llamo Amber. Now, I want you to put your name right here. Okay? So, we're going to say, hola, vamos a decir, we're going to say, hola, buenas tardes, me llamo, and then your name. Let's try. Hola, buenas tardes, me llamo. Muy bien. Very good. Now, when I was little, one of my favorite books to read was Goodnight Moon. And in Spanish, now this book is old because I'm old, but this book has been translated also into Spanish for Spanish-speaking children to enjoy as well. Let's see if you can see the title. Goodnight Moon. Buenas noches, Luna. Luna is how we say moon in Spanish. This book is written by Margaret Wise Brown, illustrated by Clement Hurd. And we're going to read this together. En la gran habitación verde, in the great big green room, hay un teléfono, there's a telephone. Hay un globo rojo, there's a red balloon. Y un cuadro, and a picture. And I'll just give you a close-up. De una vaquita que salta sobre la luna. A picture of a cow jumping over the moon. Y otro más con tres ositos sentaditos en sus sillas. And another picture of 3 bears sitting on 3 chairs. Dos gatitos juguetones, 2 calcetines, y 2 mitones, 2 playful kittens, 2 mittens, and 2 socks. Y una casa de muñecas y un ratón corretera, and a dollhouse, and a running mouse. Y un cepillo y un gran peine y papilla en un tazón. There's a brush and a comb and a bowl full of mush. And I'm thinking it's probably kind of like oatmeal. Y una amable viejecita que teje muy calladita. And there is a little old woman who is sewing very quietly. Buenas noches, habitación. Good night, room. And if you notice, this little rabbit here is saying good night, buenas noches, to his room. Buenas noches, Luna. Good night, moon. Buenas noches, Luna. Repite, buenas noches, Luna. Muy bien. Buenas noches, vaquita que salta sobre la luna. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. Buenas noches, lamparita. Good night, little lamp. Buenas noches, globo rojo. Good night, red balloon. Buenas noches, 3 ositos. Good night, little bears. Buenas noches, 3 sillitas. Good night, little chairs. So the little boy, el niño, he's saying buenas noches to everything in his room. Good night. Buenas noches, gatitos juguetones. Good night, playful kittens. Buenas noches, lindos mitones. Good night, lovely mittens. Buenas noches, relojes. good night clocks. And there's a clock right here. You can see it. Buenas noches, calcetines. Good night, socks. Buenas noches, casita. Buenas noches, casita. Repite. Buenas noches, casita. Good night, little house. Buenas noches, ratoncito. Good night, little mouse. Buenas noches, peine. Good night, comb. Buenas noches, cepillo. Good night, brush. Buenas noches, nadie. Good night, nobody. Buenas noches, papilla. Good night, mush. Buenas noches, viejecita. Good night, little old lady. Que teje tan calladita, who sews so quietly. Buenas noches, estrellas. Good night, stars. Buenas noches, cielo. Cielo means sky. Buenas noches, cielo. Good night, sky. Buenas noches, ruidos. Good night, noise. Buenas noches, tierra. Good night, world. Or good night, earth. So, buenas noches, good night. Luna, moon. Buenas noches, luna. Good night, moon. So, your assignment, kindergarten, I want you to practice saying buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. And I also want you to practice using hola with them. So, hola, buenos días, hello, hola, buenos días, good morning. Hola, buenas tardes, oh, hello, good afternoon, and buenas noches. And don't forget to practice using me llamo, my name is. That's your assignment. You can talk with your family and people and your friends, who takes care of you. Practice using these words that you're learning in Spanish. That's your assignment. Now, if you're kindergarten, you can stop the video and go ahead and get started practicing. And I'll post on Google Classroom some of the words so your parents can have those reminders of the words that we learned today. So if you're kindergarten, you can stop the video now. Adios, goodbye. Don't forget to practice goodbyes. First and second grade. There are 2 things I want you to practice, and they're new. So, we've learned how to say hola, me llamo. But what if you want to ask the other person, what's their name? So, if we said hola, buenas tardes, and we asked the question, ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? Hola, buenas tardes. Hello, good afternoon. What's your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? And the other person said, me llamo. My name is, and said their name. Now, what if that other person wants to ask you, what's your name? In Spanish, we have a little phrase, and it's ¿y tú? ¿Y tú? Repite, ¿y tú? This Y sounds like an E in Spanish by itself, and when you see the Y by itself, it means and. Y. And tú means you. ¿Y tú? And you? And so if this person said, me llamo Amber, and they want to know your name, they would say, ¿y tú? And you would say, me llamo, and then your name. How would you end the question in English and the conversation in English? You would say, nice to meet you. In Spanish, we have a phrase that means kind of the same thing. Mucho gusto. Repite. Mucho gusto. Mucho gusto means pleasure or nice to meet you. So that's how you could end it. Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Cómo te llamas? Me llamo Amber. ¿Y tú? Me llamo Rebecca. Mucho gusto. So that is a way we can have a conversation. And all you need to remember is that y tú means and you. So, first grade and second grade, I want you to practice using these words. And I'll have them listed on Google Classroom. Have a practice conversation with someone in your classroom using the vocabulary that we just learned. And if you get stuck, remember the list will be on Google Classroom with the Spanish word and the word, what it means in English. Now, if you're first grade, I want you to stop the video now so that you can move on and practice the vocabulary we learned today. Second grade. One more thing. Now, we've been learning about how to have conversations with people. ¿Cómo te llamas? Me llamo. ¿Y tú? But these conversations are really for people that are the same age or younger. Why do I say that? Because in Spanish, when we talk to someone older than us, we have to change this question. This question's going to change just a little bit because in Spanish, when someone is older, we speak with them with a sign of respect in the way that we speak. So in the wording will show that respect. So if you're a little kid and you're asking an adult what their name is, or your grandparent what their name is, or your pastor, or a doctor, you need, or anybody that's older really, that you have to say Mr. or Mrs. to, you're going to actually change this. And I'm going to write it on the back for you so you can kind of see the difference. And it changes just a little bit when we want to ask an adult. And how we would say it is like this. ¿Cómo se llama? In the other way, you notice it's a t. And the way to remember that is when I'm talking to someone my age or younger, I'm going to say como t with the T. Como te llamas? And I'll add an S. But when I'm talking to an adult, I need to say como se llama? No S at the end. This is a more respectful way to speak to an adult. And then, how we call that is using what's called the usted form. Okay? Usted is you, but respectfully. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Usted, and this is you when I'm talking to adult. Usted just means you, and tú means you. So we have two ways to say you in Spanish. In English, you just say you. How are you? Or what's your name? But in Spanish, we have two ways. One we call informal, casual, people that we know really well. And then one that is what we call formal, and that's for people that we don't know, strangers, adults. We'll say usted. So we're going to be learning more about this, and I just wanted to introduce this to second grade. So, and if some first graders stayed on because they wanted to hear more, you're going to be learning more about the usted form in second grade. So I'll list all this vocabulary, and for second grade, the new question for an adult. And if you're thinking, well, Senora Melendez, would this change? Well, it kind of would. If the other person was an adult too, they would say y usted. If two of them were adults and they wanted to be formal, y usted. But if the older person's asking you and you're younger, they can say y tú because you're younger. And we'll talk more about that another time. I just wanted to introduce that to second grade because there are two ways to talk to people in Spanish, and we really don't do that in English. In Spanish, we do with adults and people that we don't know very well. So you're going to pause the video, stop the video, I'm sorry, lo siento. You're going to stop the video, and I want you to practice all the vocabulary we've learned today, and I'll list it on Google Classroom so you can go ahead and take a look there. And that's just your assignment, just to practice. There's nothing to hand in. Hasta luego. See you later.